Every student is on a budget, but spending over $1,000 on a MacBook or Dell XPS isn't easy. That's where budget laptops come in to save the day, but as of late, all the laptops that I've been recommending on this channel have been in the rise on price, reaching close to $1,000 or more in some occasions. Luckily, today I have the Lenovo Yoga i7 that starts at only $750. This laptop offers a lot for the average student, so let's talk about its features, performance, and why you should consider buying it this summer for back-to-school shopping. Early last week, I went on the search for a budget-friendly laptop that wasn't cheaply made and that offered a lot of performance for the price. That's where I stumbled across the Lenovo Yoga i7 at Best Buy. At first, when I read the price, I thought it was going to be the basic configuration of 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage like Dell and HP do on their laptops, but to my surprise, you actually get 12GB of RAM and 512GB of storage for $800. That's really incredible. So real quick, I'm actually on vacation right now, so sorry if the camera's shaky, but the laptop is actually at $950 right now. It actually went up $200, and part of the reason is that I accidentally bought it on sale. I didn't even realize. So all you're gonna have to do to be able to get the $750 price range, or around $800, is wait for rotating sales. They happen quite often at Best Buy, so you should be able to get anywhere around $100 to $200 off this laptop if you're just patient. I just wanted to mention it, and anytime I say the lower price point throughout this video, ignore it. It's not accurate. Anyways, back to the video. So obviously, once I saw the price and configuration, I wanted to show it to you all to see if it would live up to my expectations or exceed them, and well, so far it's impressed me. Let's start with the coolest feature of this laptop that I think students will enjoy. This laptop is a 2-in-1, so that means you're getting a 360-degree hinge that's going to allow you to flip the screen over and make it a tablet. There's no included pen to help you take notes, but you can easily buy a cheap stylus or pen off of Amazon, or if you're comfortable with it, you can just use your finger as well. I've been using it as a tablet, and I'll admit it's a little hard given that you can't really set it against any rough surfaces or edges because you risk damaging the keyboard, so instead you kind of have to lay it flat on most surfaces. But if you're someone who likes to take notes on a flat surface, or you're comfortable using temp mode, you could easily get away with using this as your primary note taker over a dedicated tablet, which of course is going to save you money. And for anyone worried about accidental key presses as a result of trying to turn the screen around and put it into tablet mode, you don't have to worry about it because the tablet actually detects the orientation of the screen, which means that it will deactivate the keyboard when it knows that it's in tablet mode. Two other neat features are the fingerprint sensor, which makes authentication easy, and the camera shutter for students who are paranoid that someone is spying on them, which if you've paid attention to anything related to Edward Snowden, they most definitely are, so you're probably going to want that. I should quickly mention battery life because I know it's super important for a college student or a high school student that's moving around all day from one place to another, so they want sufficient battery life. This laptop comes with around 12 hours of battery life, which for context is better than the Dell Inspiron that I've reviewed, but not as great as the HP Envy or MacBook. However, 12 hours of battery life is still excellent, especially on an Intel machine, and we'll get to performance here in a little bit. For me, having over 8 hours of battery life on a laptop is the necessary minimum because 8 hours will get you throughout the whole day without needing access to a charger. Anything extra is, well, not 100% necessary because most likely you'll have access to a charger by the end of the day. But now let's shift our focus to the build quality. This laptop is surprisingly well made. It has a little bit of deck flex, but that's normal, and it has a full aluminum build, which is better than most school-issued computers which have a full plastic build. Overall, everything is sturdy and well built, and although aluminum is susceptible to scratches and dents, well, it's very easy to clean and fingerprints weren't much of an issue. But what about portability? This laptop is really light. It only weighs 3.08 pounds, which is just over the 2.8 of the more expensive MacBook Air. Given its small size, it won't take up much space in your backpack or desk. The only potential downside is that you're going to get a 14-inch screen, which is slightly smaller than the more common 15-inch screen on some laptops. This means you'll have slightly less space to work with, but honestly, the difference between 14 inches and 15 inches is too small for me to worry about, so I would rather want the increased portability of the 14-inch over the 15-inch option. And if you really do need more screen to work with, just invest in a monitor. This will mean that you'll have plenty of screen real estate when you're working in your dorm room or at home. Now let's talk about performance. This laptop has an 11th generation Intel i5 with 4 cores, so this means it doesn't have as much cores as the new Ryzen laptops or the M1 MacBook, but it performs very well for basic productivity tasks that most students use their laptops for anyways, such as the Office Suite and web browsing. This laptop has a Geekbench score of 4,196, which is a score that's used to measure and compare the performance of laptops. It does not perform better than many of the laptops I've reviewed, namely the HP Envy and the MacBook Air, but as mentioned earlier, it's very competitive for basic productivity. I imagine that the average student intends on using their laptop for web browsing, essay writing, and media consumption, and in my experience, I've been able to do all of this with no slowdowns. In case you want to check out my reviews on other laptops, they're on my channel, and I'll link up the HP Envy video up here because I also think it's a great budget laptop. I want to mention that the fan can get pretty loud when I'm playing games on the laptop or doing anything intensive on it, but luckily performance does not appear to drop as a result of it, and there is some ventilation on the back that should help it stay cool. Without doing anything intensive, just over long periods of use, the laptop's fan will turn on, but it's barely audible for me, and it takes about 30 minutes for this to happen, in which case you should probably get up and take a break anyways before returning to work a while after. So you should be alright. I want to wrap up by talking about some other components of the laptop, starting with the screen. The screen has a peak brightness of about 300 nits, which is going to be great if you're in any indoor setting, but once you're in contact with direct sunlight, it won't work as well. Luckily, you can order straight from Lenovo and get the 400 nit option, which should fix this issue. The screen is 1080p and it's great for media consumption such as Netflix and YouTube, and the screen is also pretty responsive, not as responsive as your phone per se when you're actually touching the screen, but it's pretty close. Next, the keyboard. I like this keyboard a lot because it takes a little more force to activate, which I'm really comfortable with, so in my opinion it's better than the HP Envy's keyboard and the Dell Inspiron's keyboard. But two things that those keyboards have is the numpad, which you're not going to get with this one, which can be an issue for some students. But as always, I'm going to recommend that you go into a store and find this laptop so you can try out the keyboard and the screen while you're at it, so you can find out if you really like them. Gaming performance is alright. I didn't get a chance to run too many games, but a game like Rocket League ran at 45 FPS on all performance settings, which is nothing special. Honestly, if you want something better, you're better off going with a dedicated gaming laptop, and comment down below if you'd like to see me review a gaming laptop. Now, for my Zoom students, let's take a look at the camera and mic quality. The camera quality is 720p, so it's nothing special. It's just like any other laptop that I've reviewed so far on this channel, and for context, there is a light that's facing me right now, so that's why it looks a little better than it normally would. As for mic quality, well, you can judge for yourself. Last but not least, the ports. Most students don't care about the ports, but I think they're important, so I'll be quick. You get two Thunderbolt ports that also serve as USB 4s, and although you don't get an HDMI port, which are used for monitors and projectors, you can easily buy a dongle for cheap. You also get a single USB-A, which is excellent because that means you'll at least be able to connect one external device, such as a keyboard or mouse. And you get the headphone jack. Yay. Overall, this laptop is compact, powerful, and portable, all for a relatively low price compared to its competitors, namely the HP Envy and Dell Inspiron. Although you aren't getting the best performance for the money, this laptop is plenty powerful, especially for the average student who's going to need a reliable laptop for several years to come. My name's Alex, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions regarding my experience with the Yoga i7, leave them down below. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe, and until next time, adios.